What's so special about Hero Bread's soft, fluffy, and delicious breads, buns, and tortillas? These ultra-low net-carb baked goods contain zero sugar, fewer calories, and more protein than the leading brands, and are high in fiber to support gut health. Shop now at hero.co.
What up? This is Shan, and this is Cozy Womb Podcast. This is Ari. Say hi.
Hi.
Say hi, Anya.
Hi.
What up?
Say what?
Hey guys, this is Shan, and this is Cozy Womb. Welcome to the Cozy Womb Podcast. Today we're going to talk about school registration, because for the South, it is that time. If you have a preschooler and they're going into kindergarten, you should have been registering them for school in March. And then the last month for registration for me here in Georgia is this month, the last week. So I will be figuring out what school Anya is going to go to. Her birthday's late, so instead of her going into kindergarten last year when she was 5, she has to go in this year, so that's cool. So the first step into finding a good school for your kid is, 1, consider your child and the family that would step up behind you if you couldn't. Take your child to school, pick them up from school, go to there for emergency. And think about your child's personality. Think about what their needs are in the classroom. Think about if this particular school would be a good fit. Start your search for the best school by your zip code, by your job if you can, and read about the reviews of the school. Read about what accomplishments the school has had. And read about what programs and curriculums they have set up for a kid, and see if your kid will be best fit. Second step is to make sure that school that you like is a school your child is allowed to go to based on your district or your county, because the last thing you want to do is find a school that you like that your child is not allowed to go to because of your address. 2, gather all the information about the school or schools that you like. So in your area, if you think you found a school for your kid, get like 2 more schools as backup, just in case they're full. Because the last thing you want to do is have a full school that cannot take your child, and then you're stuck back at square one. So prepare. Third thing is to visit and observe the schools during the day. Drive by the schools during the week in the morning to see, how the drop-off is, about what time it would take you to drop your kid off and then go to work. And if you have a second child that needs to go somewhere else, keep that in mind. Also, if you need before care for your elementary school student, think about how much extra that will be for you. If you need aftercare because you're not going to get off at 2 something in the afternoon from work all the time, see about what programs after school your child could possibly go to until you can pick them up. Apply to the schools that you choose. I don't know any elementary school that allows you to register online for your kid, but you can go on the select days that they are doing registration and register them. It should take at max a couple of hours for you to register them. Usually you do not need the kid. If you are choosing a private school or a charter school, I'm not sure how that works, but just make sure that school is in your budget, because those do cost money. But supposedly they're supposed to be better than public schools. Curriculum maybe, but I don't know. You're going to know what your child needs. Me personally, I have no extra room in my income to have one of my kids go to a private school, so I'm going to shoot for a good public school, continue to teach her at home when we get in from school and work. And keep that going. Consider your kids' needs, meaning, does your kid need a more structured environment? Do they need challenging work, because a lot of kids act up in school when they are bored? Do they need a smaller classroom? Some kids can't deal with 24 kids being in the classroom versus 12 kids being in the classroom. Do they need special, not special, but more one-on-one help with English or their speech or comprehension or mathematics, or just through how your kid acts, pays attention or doesn't pay attention, what their needs are. Do they have a good art or creative program that your child could get into? What is your kid's learning style? Do they really like reading? Do they really like doing things with their hands? Do they like creating things? Do they participate, or are they really shy? Are they into music or art, or do they like learning in big groups, or do they more so do work, on a one-on-one level? So at home, if they have siblings, do they like when you do things with both of them, or do they like when you just do things with them one-on-one? The location of your school. Is it in an area that you are comfortable with getting to and from? Do you know back streets on days when you're late or you need to be in and out? Do you have friends or family that will be easy? Will be easy for them to find it? Do you want them going to school with family or friends? Kids that you may know, the after school care, that type of need. Though they have transportation like a school bus that will pick them up, or do you have to drop them off? That's a key thing to have. Know the school's core subjects for the curriculum. Make sure, they have the standard English, history, mathematics, science, arts. If they do have a foreign language option where your kid can do that early, I think the earlier for that, the better. Most pre-Ks in Georgia do offer a Spanish class that you can pay for out of pocket if you want to. I know one of Anya's pre-Ks did that, but I just never got a chance to sign her up for it. But I wish I did, because Anya learns things pretty quick. Know your kids' approach to learning things. Do they learn more so, with cards? Are they good with memory? Or do they like to do paperwork? Can you leave them to do something alone by themselves and they'll do it? Or do you need to stand around them for them to do something? And some schools don't provide homework. Some schools do. I would rather Anya be challenged during the day with work and also have homework, because she likes doing work. She loves reading. Math, she really doesn't like that much, but I'm really trying to get her into liking it, because I hated math, and my mom let me ride on hating math because she hated math too. And all of my brothers were really good at math. I just never understood it. It was always just another language to me after addition, subtraction, and multiplication. I was looking at all the math teachers like, so this is a joke. And I don't want her to look at math like that, because math is basically the challenge of life, where you just have to figure out how you're going to work an equation, and that's what life is, figuring out how to work equations. So, academic performance, meaning, how's that school's students' test scores? Are they good? Where do they rank in the state? What are the common issues out of the kids that come from that school? How long has that principal been there? As far as like their achievements and the relevance, how is that? Behavior-wise, Are most of the kids on good behavior? Do they have a parent-teacher conferences often? Do they give out updates on what's going on at the school? Do they have a website? How often do they update it? That type of thing. Do you know your kids' teachers? Can you speak to your kids' teachers? Can you email them? All of that has something to do with it. Does that school, prefer your kids being in uniforms, or can they wear their regular clothes? I don't have a problem with either, because when I was growing up, I went to schools that required uniform, and I went to schools where you could wear whatever you wanted. It doesn't matter to me. Is the school safe? Where is the school located? Are the exits for the school easily known? Do they have too many doors, or are all the doors always unlocked? What is the step when someone does come into the school? Where do they go if they wanted to check somebody out? Can they just walk into school and go into a classroom? Does the school have security? All of that. Special offerings with the school. You do want to know that to make sure your kids get the most out of the school and what they're offering. A lot of programs may be free. A lot of programs your kids can sign up for. One thing that I regret not doing is taking advantage of a lot of after-school activities at school, because it would just make me more outgoing when it comes to trying new things. I think now as an adult, I am very outgoing and I'll try new things, but if I did it a lot sooner, a lot of things in adult life wouldn't make me hesitate, if that makes any sense. Figure out what the school requires the kids to do in summertime. Some schools require the kids to read at least 10 books over the summer and write reports about it. I would do that just because reading is what's going to keep your kid on track of where they need to be for the following year. And if a school is providing that as a challenge for them, I would want my girls to go ahead and do that. Public schools or private schools, that's your choice. Figure out what the application process is, the application deadline, figure out what the cost fees are, how often you have to pay those fees. Is there any admission requirements? Does your child have to do an interview with them? Do they provide certain things you don't have to pay for? What do you have to pay for? What's the tuition? Is there a payment plan? Is there any affiliation with other programs in the community or where you live? What else? Uniforms, books, computer fees, activity fees. You need to know what you need to pay for before you get that kid in that school. You also need to know what the requirements are of the students. If they are centered around a certain religion, what holidays do they honor? What holidays do they not honor? Because that's a big thing when you have kids going to school. Just because a kid is off from school one day doesn't mean you're off from work. So you just have to make sure what's going to coincide best for your family and your work life to make sure everybody's on the up and up. If you are homeschooling your kids, I'm sure there are different requirements for that. Every state is different. Just make sure that you're up to date on what you need each year for that kid. Make sure you have all the resources you will need, and make sure that you're checking your new state regulations for that year. Visiting and observing the school, I'm sure you can access an email for the school you want. You can also call up there to see if you have to pick a day, or you can just come take a look. Somebody could give you a tour. I would check out to see if the whole vibe of the school is friendly. Is it clean? Is it up to date? Is there any student artwork shown? Do they really put effort in their school? Do they really put effort in, showing off school? Just recognition and really making the students want to do good work or want to put their best foot forward when they come into school? Is it inviting? I really don't like schools that don't have enough windows. I really don't like schools that don't have enough color as far as like the outlook from the outside of the school and also the inside. Schools that don't have up enough artwork make me feel like y'all don't want no kids here. So I look at all of that. I look at how the kids are in the hallway, if they're happy or if they're like dragging. The principal, I really would want a principal for my kids that really love what they do, smile, is inviting, is fun, gives high fives to the kids, talks to all the kids. Just like, somebody you would really want to know. I would like to know the school's strengths. I would like to know where they're weak. I would like to know what their needs are from the parents. Also the teachers. I want more friendly teachers, more teachers that are, passionate about what they do. I would love to know all of Anya's teachers so they're familiar with who I am and, how I teach Anya. And if they have any questions for me, I want them to know that I'm available. A lot of parents don't do that, so you have a teacher thinking one thing about how a child's parents may be, and then you have your own intentions and your own thoughts based upon what your kid tells you about how their teachers are. It's best if y'all both meet, y'all both talk, you go over the expectations that teacher may have for your kid, and then they talk to you about what you would like for your child to really get out of that class. What would you like for them to get out of school this year? What are your child's weaknesses with the teacher? Because sometimes that may answer a lot of questions that teacher may have, where they think that, oh, this kid just doesn't want to do the work, whereas this kid really struggles with X, Y, and Z. That's why they haven't been doing the work. So I think it's all about good communication, good reviews on the school, location. I mean, a lot of any sex offenders should not be within a certain distance of the school, but you can always download an app to figure out where sexual offenders are located, what their address is, and you can also see what their charges are if that's something you're thinking about. What else? Submit all your paperwork and applications before the deadline. Look at all the requirement documents that you may need. Again, for the South, March and April is when you should be registering your kids to start school in August. Make sure you get a calendar of all the holidays for the following year that they will observe. That way you can, again, make work arrangements and sitter arrangements. I don't know what my kids are doing this summer, but for instance, for kindergarten, like I said, the registration, it was from March 25th to the 29th, and again this month, April 22nd to the 26th, is usually 2 time slots, 8:30 to 11 a.m. and 12 p.m. to 2:30. The required documents for registration that they need is proof of residency, your child's original birth certificate, your child's social security card, parent or guardian's driver's license, immunization records, and pre-K academic record. If they have that. Georgia does not require you to make your child go to pre-K, but if they have gone to pre-K, that's a document they will need. On there is a phone number and email address for whoever you need to contact. So, do what you need to do in order to get your child into school. Don't dilly-dally. Get on it, because I'm excited for Anya starting kindergarten. I don't know if your child is going into middle school or high school or second grade or third grade. Make sure you get a list of what their supplies are. Make sure you prepare and put savings aside for these school clothes, because these kids are growing like wildfire. And that's all I got for school registration. Good luck. Bye.
Good Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night.